everyone. Welcome to my show, Trey Avant. I'm your host, Trey Avant, with my co-host, my brother Noah Avant. This is a two-man webcast that discusses sports and entertainment. This show has different segments where I inform you of trending topics in sports and entertainment and offer my thoughts. At the end of the show is a hot take segment where we'll offer a prediction on one random topic and explain why. With that being said, let's get started. Just to start the show off, last week we gave our league award predictions and we completely forgot about Six Man of the Year. With that being said, who do you think is going to win Six Man of the Year, Noah?
We'll go Lou Will. Lou Will is a guy that is perennial 6 Man of the Year candidate or winner. I look at him probably one of the best 6 men to ever touch the game of basketball, maybe next to Jamal Crawford. The thing is interesting to hear about last week where we completely skipped over this. Could you believe we skipped over 6 man? Can you believe that, Trey?
I know, right? It's bizarre. There's a lot going on. We completely forgot. I think Lou Williams is also going to win Six Man of the Year. Dennis Schroeder, he provides a good case, but Lou Williams is just more consistent. He's on a better team,
The thing with Lou is just that Lou is on a better team, completely better team. When you play beside Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Pat Bev, guys like that, Marquez Harrell, it's going to be tough to really lose and look back when that's your supporting cast. Where you look at Dennis Schroeder, where he has Chris Paul, SGA, Steven Adams. Yeah, they have some hitters on that team, but they're not exactly what you would think of when you think of a team that's going to actually make a push for the playoffs.
Montrezl Harrell actually makes a good case too. Take the Six Man of the Year award away from Lou. He makes a good case. He played really good this season.
Yeah, absolutely. His stat line was looking pretty good. So I the thing with Montrezl Harrell versus Lou is that I just feel like big men don't get the love that they truly deserve. Mm-hmm. And where we traditionally think of 6 man, you think of a guard. It kind of really puts him in a situation where I really have to play with him, and it doesn't help that his competition breaks the ball down the court when his squad's on the floor.
Mm-hmm. I think the last big man to win 6 Man of the Year was Lamar Odom, right?
May have been. I think it was Lamar Odom.
Yeah, it was Lamar. Yeah. Goran also makes a good case.
I love my boy Goran. Goran is a great point guard coming off the bench. I think he's averaging a little over 14 points.
I'm not quite sure. I would have to look it up. I think it's somewhere between 14 and 16.
Yeah, he's having a great year, and a lot of people was wondering how he would handle coming off of the bench. A lot of times Miami did start him during the season, but I feel like him coming off the bench and him embracing that 6 man role definitely helped Miami out for the better, especially with the emergence of Kendrick Nunn and our other young guards coming up. It really does add depth now to our lineup now that he's coming off the bench, and other teams have to be aware of that. Because he's a sneaky guy. He'll come up and go off for 25. He's very, very capable of going off for 20 to 25 points a game.
Mm-hmm. You're right. The season officially restarts tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Jazz and the Pelicans and the Clippers and the Lakers.
Yes, sir.
Who do you have winning those games?
Huh?
Who do you have winning those games?
Well, of course, I got my boy Zion, Carolina boy. He got 2 Carolina boys on the team, so Bi and Zion. I definitely have them beating the Jazz tomorrow, and the Clippers and Lakers. King James. This is time for him to reclaim his throne. I feel like the NBA has forgotten his dominance, his physical prowess, and how strong he is as a player. I was watching the First Take this morning. And despite a lot of people believe and think, AD actually leads in everything but assists. And you know who leads in assists?
Who does?
King James. Mm-hmm. James. is also my MVP. GOAT James. He does no wrong. He's the king of the NBA. Whatever LeBron says, go. And LeBron says, I want to ring. So it's going this year.
You said James gonna win MVP?
He's winning MVP and he's winning a ring this year. The only team that I can see beating the Lakers and preventing them from going to the championship and winning would be the Los Angeles Clippers, the team they play tomorrow, the Miami Heat, and the Bucks.
The Heat not beating the Lakers.
Hey man, look, you never know.
You never know, but it's not gonna happen.
In a 7-game series,
You get swept. The Heat get swept.
Would we?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, let's add this. Let's put this factoid in there. The Miami Heat is undefeated against the best team in the league right now.
Question. That's up for debate, but okay.
It's not. Look at the record. Look at the standing.
Well, okay. You're talking about standings wise. Yes. Okay. Yes. They're the best team in the league. They're the best. The Bucks are the best team in the league.
Is Giannis Antetokounmpo not considered the best player in the league right now, despite my love for LeBron James? Is he not the quote unquote best player in the league for most people?
Besides LeBron, yeah.
Okay, so he didn't score over 20 against this Miami team.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Spoelstra has a combo defensive game plan out of this world, and it held Giannis to under 20 points every time they played Miami this year. Now, it didn't help against King James. We got to go back to the drawing board with that. But I feel like with the roster that Miami have, I feel like they can be a really top team that do well this year.
Mm-hmm. Zion is a game time decision tomorrow.
Really?
So the Pelicans, if Zion doesn't play, the Pelicans will probably end up losing to the Jazz. If he does play, I could see the Pelicans beating the Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is really up in the air. It all depends on whether or not Zion plays. The Clippers and the Lakers, I think the Lakers are going to beat the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I think LeBron's going to have a really big game. He gets really excited for games such as this one. So I think he's going to give the Clippers all they can handle, and the Clippers are going to end up not going home, but going back to the hotel room with a loss. It's not going to affect much, It's not going to affect much for them because this is just a bump in the road. But the Lakers are going to beat the Clippers tomorrow. But when the games really start to matter, when they really get into the playoffs, because right now it's just the seeding games. When they really start getting into the playoffs, the Clippers. I have the Clippers beating the Lakers in the playoffs. Western Conference Finals, I can see the Clippers beating the Lakers. I can see the Clippers in the finals.
Do you not know who LeBron James and Anthony Davis are?
I know exactly who he is.
You know how hard it is for them to guard LeBron. Now you're adding AD. You have J.R. Smith, Bubble Cheese, Dion Waiters.
Me, Philly Cheese.
No, Bubble Cheese. He's in the bubble now. Bubble Cheese.
He wasn't in the bubble like 2 weeks ago. He was on his couch chilling, eating Philly steaks.
That's true. But guess what?
What?
He's in a Lakers jersey now.
Mm-hmm.
He's back. I watched him play in the scrimmage. He's looking pretty decent. I mean, really, all you have to do is play his role. If you know LeBron James and the type of player he is, if you play your role, you will win. And you will look great. Prime example of that is Mario Chalmers. Mario Chalmers looked like a great point guard. LeBron left. He went to the Grizzlies. I think he had a couple good games. And now he's trying to give his way back to the NBA.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. No one has ever said Mario Chalmers is a great point guard.
They said he was good. Don't cap. Do not say he was that. People did not say he was not good.
He was a pretty average point guard. He was pretty average. He was real average. He averages like 8 points a game, and all he does is shoot corner threes.
LeBron.
That's very Derek Fisher like. That's
and
pretty
who did
average.
Derek Fisher have on his team? That
Derek
made
Fisher
him
averaged like 9 points a game.
But who did he have on his team that made him look great?
No one made him look great.
Bryant.
There was people that made him look average.
Oh, that's cap. I can't believe you really disrespect Derek Fisher.
Mark Chalmers and Derek Fisher are the same point guard. Average.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Are you serious?
Average point guard. They had one job. I mean, they were good at their one job, but that was their one job.
Okay, and LeBron makes him look great while doing that one job.
He made him look good.
You're hating. You're hating a little bit.
I'm just being a realist.
Real cap.
I guess. I don't know. The Heat play against the Nuggets on Saturday. After that, they play against the Raptors, Celtics, Bucks, Suns, Pacers, Thunder, and then the Pacers again.
Yeah.
I say the Heat goes 6-2 with losses against the Nuggets and the Celtics. Earlier, you said the Heat might not lose against the Nuggets.
I agree. Still stand by that.
You still stand by that?
Still stand by that.
But you can see the Celtics lost, though.
I definitely can see the Celtics lost. 100%.
Why
this is huh?
Why not the Nuggets, though?
It's the Nuggets. I mean, yeah, they're very high up in the West. I think they're like what, a third or fourth seed?
Third.
That's really good. I understand that. I like the pickups that with Bobo. We dropped the ball on that. Jokic and Walbury and everybody. They're a very good basketball team. I do understand that. But I'm not impressed. We have Bam Adebayo in the paint. Bam does well against his other postman in the league. Bobo's gonna be the difference. Honestly, it's like nobody really truly has an answer for Bobo. Has he had a bad game yet in since the scrimmages?
I don't think so. No.
So I mean, Bobo's gonna be if Bobo goes off like he has in prior games. It might look bleak. I'm not gonna understand the 6-2. But outside of that, I just cannot see them beating Miami. Not with Jimmy Butler coming back. It looks like his back better. It's better. His shots more fluid. You got Timmy Dunn coming back. Him and Bam are getting back into the Florida team. You have Duncan Robinson, who has been playing like an absolute dog. Like he plays like he has game breaking on. He's been shooting lights out. Him and Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, he hit puberty in between. He hit puberty between the end of the NBA season and the start of the bubble. It's in fact somewhere in between there. The puberty fairy from Big Mouth said, "Here's a little extra talent." Gave him some skill boost in 2K. He hit the spin wheel, and he came back and he was balling. I mean, especially him studying great guards like Peter McCollum and Allen. It's the ceiling for him is nowhere but up from here. And honestly, how he's been playing in the scrimmages, if he plays like that during the rest of the season, I really don't see the need to trade even include him in the trade. We wouldn't need a Brad.
He just needs to be more consistent. Like he's a rookie. He'll get to it.
That's what I said. It's just like how he's playing now. He's really showing how much greater he can be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just at this point, just giving him the time. They're putting in the actual work and effort to be great, that he can be the greatest Tyler Hero he can be. And Miami giving him the shot to do it. Trey, we can't hear you, bro.
What do you think the Heat's record is going to be at the end of the seeding games?
Not too far from what you said. Somewhere between 6-2 and 6-1.
6-2.
Nah, 6-2, 6-1. I really feel like we can knock out the Nuggets. Because honestly, looking at the rest of our schedule, I don't see really, unless Giannis wants revenge for us holding him under 20, we drop that game. Or the Pacers. somewhere along the way, TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler have a matchup, and Jimmy Butler just absolutely wets the bed. But outside of that, I don't really see us losing many games on here. We have a tough schedule. The Thunder game is going to be tough. The Bucks is going to be tough. The Celtics is going to be tough, and we have the Raptors. But these are teams that we've beaten. So it's really hard for me to sit up here and say that we can drop below 2 games.
Mhm. I see your thinking, your logic. It makes sense. Well, what do you have as your final playoff seeding predictions? Right now, I have with the East, Bucks #1 seed, followed by the Celtics, Raptors, Sixers, Heat, Pacers, Magic, and Nets for the East. What do you have for the East?
So our list is somewhat similar. I have Milwaukee at #1. I have Raptors #2. Miami playing with Boston for the 31st seed. The Pacers, the 76ers, the Magic, and then the Wizards. I like the Magic. I like Aaron Gordon. I like how Bamba has put on weight. He's been playing like an absolute beast in the scrimmages. I really feel like the Nets, where they're lacking in their roster, they don't have Kyrie. I believe DeAndre Jordan is still out. And they're stuck with Spencer Dinwiddie. The issue with that is just depth. And the teams that I picked over with the Magic and the Wizards, they're not much better off. I mean, the Wizards don't have Brad Beal, who's averaging 30 points a game this year. You know, they don't have John Wall. But nevertheless, they still have a majority of their core, and they have their rookie. I don't want to butcher his name, but really Ruchimaru.
Rui Hachimura.
That one. That one. Him. He's an absolute bucket. So I'm interested to see what they do in these seeding games. So I guess I'll start off with my predictions for the West.
Okay.
I have, of course, the Lakers, King James, #1, the Clippers, #2. I have the Denver Nuggets, #3, the Jazz, not the Jazz, #4, excuse me, the Oklahoma City Thunder, #4, the Jazz fall to #5. The Houston Rockets at #6, the Memphis Grizzlies at #7, and the Pelicans at #8.
With me in the West, I have the Lakers at 1, Clippers at 2, followed by the Nuggets, Rockets, Jazz, Mavericks, Thunder, and Pelicans. I notice you don't have the Mavericks in your top 8. Why is that? Why do you think Luka doesn't make the playoffs?
Right about now, they're stuck at 7th and with a 40-27 record. 40-27 record. And the Pelicans have a very, very sweet record. I mean, very sweet schedule for these sitting games. I think they had like the Suns twice. Like they really have a going for them, like to just cakewalk their way to the 7th seed. In fact, I may feel like they may have them swapped out with the Pelicans being #7 and the Grizzlies at 8. And the Grizzlies may end up dropping. John Morant, Jaren Jackson are very good duo together, but they may not be enough. They may not be enough to beat Portland. You know, they may not be enough to beat the Mavericks with Luka and Porzingis. Those are two duos that they're gonna be hard to beat. But I definitely feel like that with John Morant this year, he's playing with something, like he has something to prove. He's been overlooked his whole life. I was watching a story the other day talking about he was at a recruitment camp of some sort. They called all the names, and his name wasn't called. They told him to go to another gym. And if it wasn't for Murray State's coach or recruiter getting a bag of Doritos, we may not have even seen John Morant at Murray State. So I feel like now you're in a situation where I'm getting Rookie of the Year. I have a team. I have a young core that's playing with Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson, Jonas Valanciunas. They have a squad to really make the shock a lot of people, but it's going to be tough for them to win in the West because the West is literally the best conference.
I say I agree with you on many fronts. I would say the Grizzlies don't make the playoffs simply because if Ja has a bad game, the Grizzlies are gonna lose. You know, um, I do think the Mavericks will get in because Luka is a very talented player. He has Kristaps. Those two, when they link up and they're like in sync, and Kristaps is playing good, the Mavericks are a really dangerous team. I believe earlier in the year they're around like fourth seed before they started dropping a little bit. So as you can tell, they're a really good team. The Pelicans, even though Zion is the one who got them in the playoff picture in the first place, they have Brandon Ingram. He's a beast. Lonzo Ball starting to come around. Jrue Holiday, you already know Jrue Holiday is a solid point guard. So that's why I think the Pelicans get in there. The Thunder, kind of iffy. They're a really good squad. Chris Paul, amazing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, amazing. Gallinari, Schroeder, Adam, all good players. I think they're going to make the playoffs, but you also can't forget about the Trailblazers. CJ and Dame, with Melo at the 3 now, and Nurkic just came back, and Collins. You never know with the Blazers. A couple years ago, they eliminated. A couple years ago. No, that wasn't a couple years ago. I lied. It was last season. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. They could possibly make another run. I've seen people say if they face the Lakers in the first round, they can give Lakers a scare. The Blazers. Do I think they could get the Lakers a scare? No, not really. I don't think that can happen. The Blazers are a good squad, but come on now, it's the Lakers. LeBron, AD, you said it yourself. So I don't think the Blazers have enough, and I haven't looked at their schedule either. So I don't know who they play, but if their schedule's easy, I can see them possibly getting the 8th seed. If it's hard, they're not going to make it at all. And we all know with the Suns lose one game and they're out. They got to go like undefeated, and hopefully the other teams in the West start losing games. The Suns not making it unless Devin Booker turns into the Human Torch. DeAndre Ayton getting double doubles like crazy. Kelly Oubre dropping 20, 25 a night. But that's just my predictions for the West. Any final thoughts?
It's funny you mentioned that. So I did manage to pull up the schedule for the Trailblazers. So they play the Grizzlies the first game. So it's going to be interesting to see him, Dame and John Morant battle head to head. They play the Grizzlies next. I'm not the Grizzlies next. They play the Celtics next. Let's be honest here. That's gonna get ugly. That could get really ugly. It could be good, but it could be real bad at the same time. Yeah, the Rockets. James Harden averaging 30 points, 34, 30, somewhere in the 30s, just about 40 points a game. Good luck. You got the Nuggets. You have the Clippers. You have the Sixers, the Mavs, and then you got the Nets. This is a relatively tough schedule. And where you have to win games to, I believe, get back into the 8th seed, because you're not an 8th seed right now. It's going to be tough. You're depending on a lot of guys to lose, and you're competing against the giant under you that has a cakewalk to the playoffs. I do. It is questionable that the NBA made the Pelicans have such a slight record, and then they give Portland, the Celtics, the Rockets, and the Nuggets, and the Clippers back to back. So it's interesting to see. It's going to be really cool to see Ja Morant and Damian Lillard play, with Ja being one of the younger guys in the league, young guards, up and coming point guards, and Damian Lillard, who's a star, who's been a baller for years, and he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. So I'm definitely gonna be glued to my TV July 31st to watch that game at 4 o'clock.
I agree. I agree. We're going to switch gears to the NFL now. Multiple players opted out of the season, with Chiefs offensive lineman Laurent Duvernay-Tardif being the first. Now listen to these names, Noah. Marquise Goodwin, Patrick Chung, Dante Hightower, Brandon Bolden, Nate Solder, Devin Funches, and Eddie Goldman are just some of the big names who have also opted out of the season. There are also a lot of Patriot players that I just named, and there are some Patriot players that I didn't name. How do you think this is gonna affect the league? All these opt outs.
Well, let's just call it how we see it. The Patriots next year are hitting the restart button. That the Patriots were the team that usually is the big bully on the playground. Well, that big bully just caught the flu, got a head cold, and they're not going to be in school bullying anybody for a while. You know, and this really opens things up for the AFC. One less competitor for my boy Lamar Jackson to go ahead and get this trophy. One less predator for Pat Mahomes. And this really opens up a lot of opportunities because now it's just like, okay, we know Pat Mahomes is the guy to beat. But the Patriots are, no matter who wins Super Bowl, the Patriots are still always tend to be the team to beat. And in general, we talked about it last week. These guys are nervous about the NFL playing. We just had MLB players on the Marlins catch coronavirus. It's going to be tough. And that's not like they're operating within a bubble like the NBA is. It'd be different if they were at maybe if they were even at ESPN. They were staying at Walt Disney World and they played at the football field out there. You know, just something like that just to help them control their players so that when their players aren't going out to the clubs, you know, spending all of this money on whatever they spend their money on in the clubs or exposing themselves to this virus so that way they can still play. It's going to be interesting to see how the NFL handles this. Luckily, none of these names are too big of names. They're not like a Tom Brady or a Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, or Derrick Henry. None of these really big names or Julio. So hopefully the league will come up with a plan to keep all the players at ease. But in regards to the Patriots, this looks a lot like tanking. This looks like, okay, we got Cam Newton. Cam, do what you can. Good luck. You know. So.
Yeah, I agree. The Patriots, their time in the AFC East is going to come to the end. I think they're still going to be a good team because Bill Belichick is a great coach. Hopefully, Cam Newton plays good because I'm a Cam Newton fan. Hopefully, he plays good. Not too good because I still want the Dolphins to be very successful. I still think the Patriots are going to be okay. Not a good team or a great, not good, but not bad. Kind of like how the Dolphins have been. Like maybe 8-8 possibly. But when we talk about the league as a whole, I do think this is pretty big. Like you said, it's good that the names haven't been too big. But I just read just now that Damian Williams of the Chiefs, he just opted out of the season. You know, he was a big time threat for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he was probably going to be replaced by Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, who just got drafted. But they could have coexisted. They didn't really have a running back they could just go to, so those two would have been in the backfield together. But I do think that this is pretty big for the NFL. More players are probably going to start opting out as time progresses and we see how the NFL deals with coronavirus and players testing positive and everything, you know. I just seen a top prospect in the draft, first round prospect, Nate Farley. He plays for Virginia Tech. He's a corner. He opted out of the season. And I wanted to ask you, do you think the top 2021 NFL draft prospects should consider opting out of the season. Like Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, players whose draft status is solidified. They're going to be first round draft picks. They're going to get drafted high. There's no reason for them to play this season to risk injury or anything like that. Do you think those players should consider opting out of the college football season?
It's a double-edged sword. I'm going to say it like that. Like you said, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, they know they're going to get drafted. They know where they're going to go, or they at least have an idea where they could end up. We never truly know where somebody's going to end up to the end of draft night. Trades happen, people slide, you could have a bad workout, whatever that may be. You have an idea, but you never truly know. If I'm a guy that's like, I'm looking at the mock drafts and I'm second round, third round, fourth round, I'm staying. I'm still playing. I got to play. Because at the end of the day, if I don't play, and there's another guy like me in the middle of the pack, and he just so happens to have a breakout season, just my luck, guess who's gonna go third round first pick instead of you? Like he is. So it's one of those things. I hate it has to be that way. I truly do, because it's one of those situations where these guys are all great, but you only have a certain amount of rounds. You only have a certain amount of picks. Somebody's got to get drafted and somebody's not. You make these decisions. At the end of the day, these athletes know with this given circumstances that we're in, you make the bed that you want to lay in. I would want to make my bed just as comfortable as I can. And that's the best way I can put that.
Yeah, I agree with you. There are some players who are going to be drafted lower, like in middle rounds, who have to play if they want to get drafted. But what I am going to say is a lot of teams are going to find steals in the later rounds of the draft next year. A lot of teams are going to find steals because there's going to be players who don't play, who drop, players who rely on other players, like a quarterback might rely on a star receiver, and a star receiver says, I'm not going to play. They're going to drop. A team to pick them up, and then they shine in the NFL. So there's a lot of good, like you said, double-edged sword. There's a lot of good, a lot of bad that can come from this. I also wanted to touch on Keenan Allen. He's beefing with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Tyreek Hill. He says he's a better receiver than all of those players. The reason he's saying that is because the NFL Top 100 had Allen ranked as the 77th best player in the NFL. He's behind receivers Larry Fitzgerald, Tyler Lockett, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, and Michael Thomas. They haven't announced DeAndre Hopkins or Michael Thomas yet, but those are only two receivers left. So you can figure out they're going to be in the top 10. Do you think that's accurate? Keenan Allen being ranked 77th behind all those receivers?
Absolutely. You what? What are you talking about? Like the list? You hear the name that you called? You got Amari Cooper up there. His quarterback's Dak Prescott. Dak. The dude's name is Dakota. He goes by Dak. He stinks. He had the best offensive line in the world at one point, and he still sucks. He had the best running back in the league at one point. He still sucked. I know I'm going to get some angry Dallas Cowboy fans in the comment section, but I don't care. He sucks. You have Amari Cooper up here getting buckets with Dak as your quarterback, and you couldn't do anything with Phillip Rivers? Come on now. Come on now. You can't let your physical, like your opinion on yourself dictate the fact. I can love Jimmy Butler all day, every day, but I know he's not better than LeBron James. I can love Tua, boy. I can love Tua all my heart, but he hasn't had the career of Tom Brady. And I'm not going to come out of my mouth and say stuff like that. You have to perform. If you want to be considered top 3 receiver, top 2 best receiver, whatever, play like it. Get out there on the field. It's Corona outside. Everybody's coughing and sneezing. Everybody's in the house quarantining. Get out on the field. Let's run some routes. Get up with a quarterback. Find a young college kid. Find a high school kid. Get out there. Let's run some routes. Let me work on my short routes. Let me work on my route running. Let me get my footwork together. Let me get in the gym, lift some weights. Let me get on the parachute. Let me run. Let me make myself physically better so when I come out here next season, I'm working. Le'Veon was mad about his Madden overall. You know what he did? He posted a video of him working out the next day. You talking about and you complaining on Twitter, you using your Twitter fingers, complaining about you being number 77 versus you saying cool and then putting your nose to the dirt and working, 2 different things. I don't feel bad. The list is right. And next year's going to get worse. Like Evans has Tom Brady throwing him the ball. With Gronk. Like, they have the team. Now, people can say what they want to about Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers may not be the best quarterback. Some people may think he's a worse quarterback than this person. And all that's out the water. Phillip Rivers is a very solidified quarterback. Prior to him, his little decline. And now he's with the Colts. Do better. Show us that you're better. At this point, football's not a game about, I average this, that. You don't have, show us you're better. Show the NFL and all the people that make these lists that you're better than Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones. You're not going to do that. Julio Jones is the best receiver in the league. Guys are 40-inch verticals. Like, 6'2", 6'3"? He's an NBA basketball player, for crying out loud. You got big receivers out here. It's hard. It's going to be tough for you. But, again, we're going to see. Maybe this fuels the fire in him to make him be the best receiver in the league next season. We'll never know till time.
You're right. We got to see how Keenan Allen does. It's going to be tough to see what he can really do this year because there's no Phillip Rivers. He's either going to have Tyrod Taylor throwing him the ball or have Justin Herbert throwing him the ball. Whereas Tyreek Hill is going to have Patrick Mahomes. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are going to have Tom Brady throwing him the ball. So he is at a disadvantage. But like you said, if he really is better than all those guys, he can still put up monster numbers with Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert. But I don't think Keenan Allen is a worse receiver than Larry Fitzgerald. I think he's better than Larry Fitzgerald. Right. Larry Fitzgerald right now, I think he's better than Larry Fitzgerald. Tyler Lockett, debatable. Jarvis Landry, kind of debatable, but it stops right there. He's not better than Odell or Devontae Adams or Stephon Diggs or Amari Cooper, none of them. But how would you rank Keenan Allen among Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Tyreek Hill? Because those are the 3 people he called out. So how would you rank those 4?
Last. That's point blank period. You're not better than Keenan. Keenan Allen. You're not better than Tyreek Hill. He literally burned you down the field, down the sideline. He'd give you a 20-yard head start, and he'd still catch you. He'd walk you down. You're not gonna catch. You're not beating him. You're not better than Mike Evans. You completely forget that. And Chris Godwin's a bucket. Like, dude, Chris Godwin, he's a baller. He's gonna go off this year. And now you don't have what's my man's name? Jameis Winston throwing him the ball. Mike Evans had Jameis Winston throwing him the ball. Yeah, he throws 30 touchdowns in a year. How many interceptions is he gonna throw? You know what I'm saying? Like, now I have an even better quarterback. And I get what you were saying before, being at a disadvantage with your quarterback. Tyrod Taylor's not a bad quarterback, though. He's not the best, but he can throw the ball. And then you got Herbert. Herbert could come out here and be a baller. He played amazing in Oregon. So it's not he has scrubs. It's not he was like Pittsburgh, had Mason Rudolph and Duck throwing him the ball. Like, you have solid quarterbacks that can make the pass down the field, that can pass you the ball. Make it happen. Just make it happen. I played linebacker in high school, and I always hear the receiver go. I always heard Coach Jacobs yelling, "If the ball touch your hands, you can catch it. Make it happen." Even in the Super Bowl where Atlanta had a whole situation in the Super Bowl, Julio didn't drop the ball. None. And he was quadruple double. I mean, he was quadruple double. He was guarded by 4 people. Like, if he can make the catch and you're saying, hey, look, I'm up here with y'all. I'm up here with you, Julio. Prove it.
With my rankings between those 4 players, I say Tyreek Hill's number 1, obviously, followed by Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then Keenan Allen's last. He's a really talented receiver, but among those 4, 3, he's last. And he's not really gonna have a good chance to prove it because his quarterback situation is in flux. I mean, you got to see how Herbert plays. Herbert, he was good at Oregon, but he wasn't great. So we see how he does in the NFL. See if he could beat out Tyrod. We got to see that first because they said Tyrod is likely to get the starting job over Herbert, at least in the beginning. So we got to see, how Keenan Allen does. How he adjusts to new quarterbacks. I mean, with the top 100, they still haven't announced who's number 1. Who do you think is going to be number 1? I say Lamar. It's between Lamar Jackson, Aaron Donald, or Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson, he was MVP. Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP. And he just got that big contract. Aaron Donald has been the best defensive player in the league for years now. So it's really between those 3 to be number 1. Who do you think is going to be number 1?
Mahomes. I feel like this off of the strength of last year and him winning the Super Bowl and him being the reigning Super Bowl MVP, I feel like he will end up being number 1. Do I agree? No. I feel like Lamar Jackson's the better quarterback between the 2. But more than likely, it'll probably be Aaron Donald at 3, Lamar Jackson at 2, and then Pat Mahomes at number 1. Like you said, Aaron Donald, he's been a monster on the D line, on the defensive end. Just absolutely bullying people, obliterating offensive linemen as they come. But he really gets a short end of the stick because it's just generally speaking, it's hard to outshine quarterbacks. No matter how good you are, they're always going to look at your quarterback. Unless you're just head and shoulders better in your contribution for the team's win, it's going to be hard for you to outshine your quarterback. At least in this situation where your quarterback, you're dealing with 2 MVP quarterbacks, and then you're just a defensive lineman. Look at in the title of the positions. Football, we have linemen and you have skill players. So, even in the tone, the wording of your position, your skilled players, you're already kind of put at the bottom, you're just a lineman, and then you have skill players. You see what I'm saying? Not that I'm trying to make a case for him to be the best player in the NFL, but I do say that even if he had tremendous numbers, they would still find a way to say that Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are the best players in the league. But overall, like I said before, Mahomes at number 1, Lamar Jackson number 2, and Aaron Donald number 3.
If I were to rank those 3, I would say Lamar at number 1 solely because he won MVP. Patrick Mahomes at number 2, and then Aaron Donald at number 3. That's just my personal, like you said, linemen don't get the love they really deserve. Even though Aaron Donald is one of the top linemen, he's the top lineman in the league. He's been the top defensive lineman for years now. Their value doesn't overshadow the value of a quarterback. And that's why I think Patrick Mahomes, he had a great year. It wasn't as good as the year before. That's what I think drops him down. and Lamar had an amazing season. We haven't seen a season like that since Michael Vick. And he won MVPs on a Madden cover. He's the NFL's golden boy right now. So that's why I believe he's going to be number one. Is he a better quarterback overall than Patrick Mahomes? No. He just had a better season last season, you know? But I wanted to go back to what you said, best receiver in the league. I agree with you. Julio Jones, best receiver in the league, for sure. Julio Jones is a monster. I haven't seen him have a bad game. Well, I've seen him have bad games, but it just doesn't happen very often. He's the greatest receiver I've ever seen in my life. Any final?
I never disagree with you. I do feel like Lamar Jackson is the better quarterback between him and Pat Mahomes because their arms are both great. They both have cannons. They can both launch the ball like nobody's business, and they can get it accurate. Pat Mahomes does these little flashy passes, these little 2K passes. He's double tapping circle, and he's throwing the ball behind his head 50 yards. Yeah, that's amazing. I cannot discredit that. But I have yet to see I have yet to see Pat Mahomes do all that passing and run for 200 yards. Like, when it comes down to two quarterbacks that are this closely matched, who do you want to have the ball when you have a guy like Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Pat Mahomes can throw that ball. He can run. He can run too. I don't want to discredit his feet because he got some wheels on him. But he's not running like Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson runs head up on linebackers. Like, well, how many quarterbacks do that? I remember when I played high school football, we would pray for our quarterback to run up the middle and try to challenge one of us. That was lunch. That's lunch. Like, we'll never get to hit the quarterback. I'm taking his helmet off. Like, and you got a guy like Lamar Jackson who say, okay, try it. I can run through you. I can run around you. And if I got to, I'll go over you. Pat Mahomes isn't doing that. But then again, all of this is just based on the fact that I like really mobile quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, like you said, he's very comparable to Michael Vick. And Michael Vick was an issue prior to his situation that unfortunately kept him from being the superstar that he would have been. I truly believe Michael Vick would have been a Super Bowl champion and would rival even Tom Brady. Because at the end of the day, you have a quarterback that can run like that. He'd been like Lamar Jackson at that time. What receiver wouldn't want to play with Atlanta? So,
Yeah, I agree. We're going to switch gears to baseball. I know we talk about baseball in the show too. The Miami Marlins will not play until Monday because 16 members of the team have tested positive for coronavirus. They also played against the Philadelphia Phillies after learning that multiple members of the team tested positive. The Blue Jays are barred from playing in Canada, so they have to find a home venue to play in. Most likely, they're probably going to choose Buffalo to play in. So the Toronto Blue Jays can't even play in Canada. And the MLB, they won't postpone the season and they won't play in a bubble. Do you think their no bubble plan is destined to fail?
absolutely. You got to look at it like this. The NBA, they had a couple cases prior to going in the bubble, within the bubble. Since the bubble has been a thing, no cases. At the end of the day, you have to use common sense. I don't know what's their reasoning behind a no bubble plan or why they don't want to have a bubble. They're not using their noggins. And if they think that the Miami Marlins having 16 is just a Miami issue, seeing how Florida is one of the leading states with coronavirus cases, wait till they start traveling. Wait till they come to. They're traveling on the road and they go to Philly. They go to Philly again. They go to New York. They go to Boston. They go to Massachusetts. They go to California. They go to all of these different places. What do you think is going to happen? When you travel, the thing about this virus is that people don't understand is that it's very easily transmitted. It's hard to sit in a bubble. To sit in a dugout with guys who probably have not stayed at home. They may have not went out the night before. And hopefully, God forbid, they didn't catch the virus, but in the event they did, and I'm in the dugout with you, I'm throwing the ball with you in warm-ups. I'm warming up with the pitcher, throwing them some balls. Sweats, wipe, transmitted. Just like that. And now everybody on the field is now exposing themselves because they didn't want to put a bubble into place. The bubble idea is something that a lot of these professional leagues, if they truly care about their player safety and they truly want to have their season, they have got to use this bubble method. The NBA is showing it's foolproof. You know, even with Zion, they've even had it where players have gone and come and gone. You know, and look at Lou Will. Lou Will went to Magic City to see some strippers and eat some chicken wings. Like, he came back, no corona, thank God. But if he did, he's quarantined 14 days either way. And I believe it was the Blue Jays that had the rule at first. What is it, like $750,000 fine or possible jail time to stay in? You wouldn't have to worry about having to arrest your star pitcher or third baseman or outfielder if you just had a bubble. Nobody has to go to jail. Nobody has to lose your a 75 cent to them. It's probably like 75 cents because baseball players make bank. These little a fine, you can keep it. No problem solved. No problem solved. You don't want your players catching coronavirus. You don't want to spread it. You want to have your season. Make a bubble. There's nothing wrong with it. Have it set up. They got the NBA bubble at Disney World where it's like a NBA 2K My Park. So they might as well allow them to. Malik B died. From the Roots. He just passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see if I can get some more news on that. Let's got the headline just now. But yeah, going back to the MLB, they got to do better. Them not having a bubble is not going to end good for them, and I hate it for them. I really do. I'm hoping the best for them and for this season, but it's not looking too good for the home team.
Yeah, I just think the bubble is a great idea. It's a great idea, but baseball and NFL, the reason they're not doing bubbles, I just don't think many players would like that idea because they're not restarting. The season is just beginning, so they're not picking up where they left off. So they're going to do an entire season where they're going to be pretty much trapped in one place. And I don't think anybody wants to do that. With the NBA and the NHL, they were mid-season when everything shut down. They were just about to get into the playoffs and everything. So it was pretty easy to put everybody in a bubble and restart it because they're not going to be in the bubble very long, 3 to 5 months tops. Whereas with the NFL and the MLB, even though the MLB has cut their season down to at least 60 games, they're still going to be in there for a really long time. NFL players are going to be in there from anywhere from August to January if you make the playoffs, and if you don't make the playoffs, to December. And if you make the Super Bowl, you're going to be in there from August to February. The Super Bowl is going to be played in the bubble. Well, sorry. They would be played in the bubble if they were in a bubble. So I just think it's a very long time. I don't think anybody wants to deal with that. But I do agree with you. Bubble is a good idea. The league should implement it, but I just don't think many people would take to the idea too kindly, you know?
It's the same thing with the mask. It's not at the end of the day, get over it. You don't have an opt-out clause. If you don't want to be in a bubble, don't play. Problem solved. At the end of the day, these guys cannot be selfish. It's like people that don't want to wear masks. Like, even if you yourself know you don't have coronavirus, or you don't think you have coronavirus, you should still wear a mask. You should wear a mask for your safety too. Those tests have been coming back where sometimes you test positive, sometimes you test negative. You take the test twice, you could possibly get very well get two different answers. So it's better off to just wear a mask. Just like it's just better off for you to be in a bubble. It's like one big baseball tournament. Even though your season may have not started and you don't want to be in the bubble, shorten the season. I say shorten the season so that way you're not confined into a hotel room for a whole baseball season. I do know baseball season is a very lengthy season. Same thing for the NFL. The NFL can do the very same thing. And just so that way it's a little bit safer. You got to think about it like, bro, it is not that deep. Your life is worth more. I know you get paid a lot. You have endorsements, you're on TV, but your life should mean something more to you than just this game. That you should think about your family, the people around you, the people around them, the people you'll interact with on a daily basis. It's just better off for them to just play in the bubble. But that's just my opinion. And in regards to Malik B, his cousin, Don Champion, confirmed today that the 47-year-old rapper has passed away. There's no reports on his cause of death, and there's still more to come according to Complex.
Yeah, it's really sad, but hopefully his family, my condolences. I send my condolences to his family. Hopefully they could, move on, knowing he's in a better place now. Well, I just wanted to say it's about that time, folks. It's hot take time. And our hot takes of the day is, my hot take of the day is, if the Warriors get the first pick in the draft, they will either keep the pick and draft James Wiseman from Memphis or trade the pick for a star small forward to pair with, Steph and Clay. And I believe that star small forward is going to be Chris Middleton. Now, hear me out. I don't believe the Bucks are going to win the NBA championship. It's either going to be the Clippers or the Heat or the Lakers. But I don't think the Bucks are going to win the championship. And if they don't win the championship, a change has to be made. They're not going to trade Giannis, obviously. Chris Middleton is the second best player on the team. He's a really talented player. But if they want to get better, or maybe not better, but if they want to prepare for the future, if Giannis does leave, because they lose the championship this year, Giannis is going to be closer to leaving. They trade Chris Middleton, get the first pick in the draft. They could draft LaMelo or Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, whoever they want to pair with Giannis. If Giannis likes them, if Giannis likes that player, he could stay and build with that player. If he doesn't like him, he's going to leave, go wherever he wants to go, and the Bucks can rebuild with the pick they just got, with the rookie they just got. So I think that could happen, and then the Warriors going to have Chris Middleton with Steph and Clay and Draymond, and they would have to trade someone else, probably Andrew Wiggins to the Bucks. Maybe the Bucks. Mike Budenholzer is a really good coach. He could build Andrew Wiggins into being a player he could be. He should have been. I mean, if Steve Kerr couldn't do it, I kind of doubt Mike Budenholzer could, but you never know. But that's just my hot take.
Boy, that one was spicy. When it left your lips, it burnt my ears. That's why I had to take the glasses off. I didn't want to start fogging up, man. I gotta be able to see. But my hot take is that the Heat. There's been some rumors going around from a couple Heat pages that I follow and a couple sources that they claim. Sources they claim that the Miami Heat will not re-sign Bam Adebayo in pursuit of Giannis and possibly another superstar. As great as that may sound, Pat Riley has made it known and perfectly clear how much he loves Bam Adebayo, Greensboro native. He's not going nowhere. I feel like they'll probably extend his contract maybe for a year, maybe a 2-year extension, just something small until they can pay him like he deserves, just so that way they can get the pieces around him so they can give him the jewelry he deserves, if that makes sense. Yeah, it with cap space and actually signing these guys to these contracts, it makes things a little bit harder. It makes things tricky, especially when you have a young guy like Bam who comes out of nowhere. You know, he had a pretty good rookie year, and then he had another good year, and then boom, 16-10. Like that's tough. That's tough. You don't expect that. I don't think. I mean, you want that. You would like to see that. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the Heat are not mad that Bam developed into this big man, and he's still growing as a player. It's just I don't see them not paying him, seeing that he has such an exponential growth, even being considered one of the best, most improved players in the leagues this year. Miami not re-signing him, hot. That's very unlikely. But apparently, it seems like a lot of people are thinking that. So my hot take this week is that Bam gets that extension, and he might even get a payday after that extension, an even bigger one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. The Heat are not gonna make the same mistake they did with Wade a couple years ago. With that about, it's just not gonna happen. They learned a lesson, and there's no guarantee we're even gonna get Giannis or whoever we're going after. There's no guarantee that's gonna happen. But what is guaranteed is that Bam Adebayo is gonna be on our team. So we might as well just lock him up. You know.
I
Before I
agree
end the
with
show,
that. I agree with that 100%. Bam is a Heat lifer. I'm speaking it into his future that he will be a Heat lifer, and I'm also speaking into existence that we're going to get the killers of Breonna Taylor arrested. They need to be arrested. They need to be persecuted.
agreed. All right, guys, that's it for today's show. Follow me on Twitter at TreyAvant3. Noah, would you like to drop your Twitter tag?
You can also follow me on all social media platforms at ArcBuilderNoah. Again, that's on Instagram, Twitter, and that's ArcBuilderNoah.
Timeout airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. As always, this is the Avant Bros signing off.